Good morning, people. It's Duncan at the A-Frame with Freezing Eagle on a drizzly, kind of dreary Thursday. It's kind of spring, but not quite. It's absolutely beautiful. Several days up in the 60s, and now we're getting back toward winter mode. So probably see a little more rain and snow, but I thought I'd say hi. It's been a couple of weeks. Got down to Florida for a week, and that was very nice. I got back here, and the temperatures were almost the same within a few days. So anyway, it was nice to get down there, try and get over a cold I've been fighting. Anyway, I thought I'd say hi, just do a little catch up. I figured I'd step outside. The inside is a mess, so I'll be showing you that mess shortly and describing a little bit of it. But anyhow, got an hour to kill before I have a meeting in Bennington I got to run up to, so thought I'd say hi rather than take on any big projects. And so here we are. We have a bunch of things going on simultaneously. We suspended work on this bathroom because we were getting in sheetrock mode, which I'll show you shortly. So I just cleaned this kitchen area out yesterday. Decided to get it wired in. It's probably the last part of the house I've been getting to. I've been working on a lot of other parts of it. And now this kitchen is going to be quite nice. I just went ahead and set some boxes. I'm doing my own wiring in this project, so got some outlets boxes in there. You can see them in the walls. And the way I'm doing the wiring is, very first step is just to install these boxes, which kind of delineates where the outlets are going to go. And they're like 24 off the floor and a little less height on them in these wall areas. But anyway, this is going to be a little breakfast nook. There's going to be a kind of a bar coming out from in the center where those windows are, about 4 feet out, so we can have stools there and enjoy our morning coffee. And then coming around here, we're going to have a refrigerator on this left corner, and then the stove with a little bit of counter space. Ceiling lighting, I just decided to put some, I'm not doing can lights. Now they have these LED lights that are sort of a surface mount type of thing that are thinner and less trouble to install. Old-fashioned can lights kind of lose heat up through the ceiling areas, although this is under a second floor, so that's not going to be an issue. So there's a box there for a light over the sink, which will be in front of that window, and then there'll be a little chandelier up in there, so there's a ceiling box so I can hang a chandelier. And now these boxes are all in place. I can run wire to them and then down through into the basement where they'll connect in at the they'll go underneath actually and come back up in this bathroom and be tied into that breaker panel. So over here, let me zoom back out. So my son Carter's been helping me a lot. We have a second door here that's going to replace what was the outer door before the porch went on. Now we have a really nice door on the outside, but this is an identical door, although I didn't get it with all the jam and all the goodies. This is just going to be a separator one between the porch and the house, so I'll just build the jam. It doesn't have to be as weather tight as an exterior one. So yesterday, and actually what we've been doing a lot of lately is sheetrock. It's been the big push since I had my brother and my son both here to help me. This was pretty daunting. I was losing sleep over the cathedral area, but we did get most of it done. Yesterday we had put in some of this sheetrock, and then I just tied it in around this window, so that is quite close to being completed. I'm having Carter stain up a lot of wood, and we'll be able to make the extension jambs and trim out of a lot of this pine that we got at a good discount, so that's a plus. So he's been staining that, and we've been putting up a lot of sheetrock. I'll show you this cathedral area. This was making me nervous. It took quite a bit of doing to put up this 5/8 fire code, which is quite heavy. It's heavier and thicker than normal, half-inch sheetrock, but it's more durable and sits flatter and much stronger. It's probably twice as strong as the cheaper stuff, the thinner stuff, but it's well worth using. So my brother Al has a lift that we use to install a lot of this. And then when we got done with the lift and got these high pieces in, then we set staging up in here to access the very peak. So now I'm going to hang a fan light unit across some framing that will be hung down below the ceiling a bit. And then we're going to fill in around that stove transitioning chimney thing that we had to build. So we got a couple of custom pieces to go in there, and then When that is all done, I'll be able to tie in the trim around these windows, which is very cool. I'm looking forward to doing that. I love doing all the finished carpentry work, kind of my favorite part of it. Okay, so then looking in at the top toward the bedroom area, there's a wall that's going to go across a couple of feet back of this edge where this little balcony is going to be. So we've got to fill in the rock there. So we're looking at maybe tomorrow and next week to get all that tied in. But that'll all be easier than what we just done. What we just did was really making me nervous, but I'm glad we've got most of that up. As soon as all that rock is up, we'll be able to begin taping and painting. I'm just going to climb this ladder, show you a little more of what's going on up here. Yeah, so this is simultaneously multiple projects at any given time, but the good thing about that, you can kind of jump between them. You don't get bored or burned out or too sore and tired. So this is the bedroom area. I think last time I put up a video, I was showing this. This is this top side of a small dormer, the window which I just showed downstairs that we had sheetrocked in. And I put up a little balcony over this little mini loft here, which kind of a fun thing to have. And then going in here, a couple of doors that are basically poly. Those weren't stained deliberately just to show the grain. We wanted to make those an accent thing. They match this floor, which is also yellow pine, which Carter sanded and polyed while I was in Florida. And so backing up here, we're just looking into the peak. And you can see that rock goes most of the way to the top. There's a piece of wire sticking out of the wall over here. So it'll go to a fan light, which will hang off a piece that's going to be about where that ladder is, going across to suspend a fan light unit by. So getting a lot of progress made, hoping to be in here by June. It's a lot of work to do, but it's actually moving ahead pretty well. Quite happy with the outcome so far. I'm just going to keep cranking on the sheetrock in the hope of meeting March's goal. March's goal is to get all the sheetrock up everywhere in here, which automatically means the wiring's got to be done, the insulation's got to be done. So those things are going to happen, and then ultimately all the rock goes in, and then mud and tape. And we're going to reduce the workload with the mud and tape considerably because those joints going vertically, the reason we ran the sheetrock vertically is so strips of wood can go over those joints. So we'll just run a layer of tape in there for fire reasons, just to block any airflow between them. And then we're going to stain up 1x6 wood, which is going to look just like those boards, except they'll be narrower, just 1x6, which is 5.5 wide. That wood will be rounded off a little bit, stain, and then run all the vertical seams. The horizontal ones, yes, I will tape and all the little dots from the screws, but a lot of the work will have been eliminated, which is nice, and that will extend into here. So the sheetrocking won't be too bad. This one area with this bedroom, I ran the sheetrock horizontally, and it's only 1/2 inch, but it's plenty good, and that'll be all just painted and smooth, and that'll accent a little chandelier that's going to go up in there. And then I did a little bit of a funny thing I'll show you just since I'm looking at it. So I have these theories about ventilation, and since this roof is not vented in a normal way where air can get up through the roof and out, I decided to drill out some holes here and actually put pieces of PVC pipe extending to the outside with screening on the outside, and just leave some permanent venting, which will just let some of the warmer, moisture air just vent out and keep the place breathing a little bit. I'm a believer in that. This place otherwise would be too tight. There's no ventilation out through the ridge. There's no soffit ventilation. It's what they call hot roofing. For a while they had a big thing about vented roofs, try to keep them cooler and this and that. And I found that to be very troublesome. In my experience, when you have a vented ridge, the caps end up getting ripped off by the wind and you get weather problems and leaks. And I prefer the hot roofing. So we have a metal cap over this whole ridge on the whole building. It's all metal on the cap, so it's very durable and weather tight. And then we're going to have some passive ventilation in here. And I do have a skylight, which will allow some venting in the summer, keep the heat from building too much. And of course, the windows, the little triangles, there's non-vented windows in here, which are non-opening windows, which, I didn't want to, once you're up these heights, you don't really want to have to mess with windows. You can't open them easily. So other than the skylight, everything else is just normal windows, and that will allow enough ventilation. I think this place is hyper insulated, so I don't think it'll be too hard to heat or cool. One benefit. Anyway, that's kind of a catch-up video to let you know where we're at. Moving ahead toward the goal. Hopefully by the end of March we'll be painting, and then March we'll move into April, and during April I'm hoping to, now that it's getting warmer, we'll be able to open a lot of windows and doors and get this whole interior painted and then trimmed, and then eventually when all those things are done, we will put a floor down. That'll be kind of a final phase, and then we'll be able to move in. So moving along, and so far so good. We're staying on track. Anyway, enjoy, what is this, Thursday? Enjoy the day, weekend coming along. Going to be some more wintry weather coming, so got to deal with it. It ain't spring yet, but we're close. Have a good day, folks. Take care.